Welcome to Owatonna High School as we proudly continue our coverage of high school basketball. Today, it's the rematch. Not just any rematch, the rematch. Minneapolis, Washburn, and New Richland-H-E-G in a battle that will hopefully be reminiscent of their thrilling state tournament semifinal 1 year ago. Hello everyone, Mike Peden here with Kyle Lindblom. And Kyle, you made the trek from Mankato to get here. We made the trek from St. Paul. There are some dates you just know are going to be absolutely phenomenal games. Today is one of them.
When you get the opportunity to see two of the best high school basketball players in the state, you make the trip. Chase Coley, Carlie Wagner, they're going to Iowa, they're going to Minnesota, they're on the floor. It's going to be a great ball game. This
will be an early Big Ten preview on that note. Both will be freshmen next year at their respective universities. Let's start with New Richland, the defending 2A champions. #1 ranking in Class 2A, undefeated and virtually unchallenged. Only one game this season has been decided by less than 10 points, and Carlie Wagner continuing to put up gaudy numbers on offense.
Another huge night last night against Blooming Prairie, 40 points and 10 rebounds. You got to stop her, but if you do, who's going to pick up the slack? That's, I think, the big question. Last year, this Washburn team didn't do it. Nobody has this year. Like you said, she scores points after points. She's going to have the record here pretty quick if she doesn't slow down.
The single season scoring record, she said herself she would have absolutely no chance of getting to Rebecca Dahlman's career record, but you never know. Speaking of records, Chase Coley has the career blocks record. Last time we covered a Washburn game, she was still chasing that mark, and she holds every single blocks record, the blocks trifecta, going after several other marks, but she's just as versatile as Wagner is.
And when we coming in tonight thinking her triple-double against Tartan earlier this year was going to be the highlight. Mike informed me earlier, a quintuple, what's the correct term for what?
Quintuple-double.
A quintuple-double. Points, rebounds, blocks, assists. I've never heard of it. That's incredible.
And Coley was close to getting back-to-back quintuple-doubles, but it's still a rarity for back-to-back 5x5s.
It's unbelievable. I mean, this is going to be a great matchup. Two fantastic players who score, who dish the ball, who rebound. What more could you ask for?
Now, how does the approach change? Because last year, New Richland won partially because they held Chase Coley scoreless in the first half. This year, Coley is more assertive. Wagner has embraced her role in a phenomenal fashion. How is this going to determine the winner?
Well, when you're older and you're wiser, you tend to pick up your game a little bit. You learn that doesn't always have to be about you. You can facilitate to your teammates. You can move the ball around. But when it comes to be late in the game and you know it's your time, you get the ball in your hands, you make the baskets, you pull down the big rebounds. A year later, it can be a big difference.
And both players, Miss Basketball finalists and McDonald's All-American nominees. Does the outcome of this game have any sway on the Miss Basketball voting come spring?
It certainly can. I mean, you look at Chase Coley, who talking to the coach earlier, her mom was the runner-up. So she's kind of got that little bit of that chip, like maybe this is a game where if she were to come out on top in this game, maybe she gets that slight edge going into the rest of the season.
No section or state tournament implications this time, just pride on the line, but a thrilling game coming your way. The keys to the game and the starting lineups are coming up shortly. This is high school girls basketball. Welcome back to Owatonna Senior High School. Neutral site game for both teams, but Kyle, this game, New Richland almost has the home court advantage here. A wave of New Richland fans, including many who are sitting right behind us.
It's going to be a raucous game, to say the least. Owatonna just stone's throw from New Richland. A lot of fans made the trip. Nice sunshiny weather out there. The roads weren't too bad, and they have packed the house here in Owatonna.
Let's take a quick look at the starting lineups. Again, neutral site game, so we'll start in alphabetical order this time. That means New Richland goes first. It's 00, Hannah Lundberg, the 5'6" senior forward. Number 2, Marnie Wagner, 5'6" freshman guard, one of the Wagner twins. Number 3, Carlie Wagner, 5'11", senior guard. You know where she's headed. It's Minnesota. Number 10, Paige Overgaard, 5'11", senior center. Number 12, Jade Schultz, 5'9", senior guard. Jade Schultz, her minutes may be limited today. She suffered an ankle injury in the win over Blooming Prairie, so keep an eye on that throughout this contest. Washburn will start. Lucia Renikoff, number 10, 5'8", junior guard. Number 11, Aaliyah Wilson, 5'8", senior guard. Number 12, Emma Shepard, 5'8", junior guard. Number 23, Chase Coley, 6'3", senior forward. And number 42, Kendra Zellner-Smith, 6-foot junior forward. It's worth noting that Washburn is back at full strength, so you may see some new players compared to our last broadcast, including Mariah Marshall.
I'll be most interested to see how they come out today. Both teams played a game last night. It's early in the afternoon today. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to stay fresh and stay hyped all the way through the end of the game.
But both schools are accustomed to the situation because the state tournament is a back-to-back scenario for all of these schools, and New Richland used to this. They finished third in 2012, won the championship last year. Washburn finished fourth. 69-60 was the final score in that game with New Richland. They pulled to within 2 twice with less than 4 minutes to play, but Carlie Wagner was just too much.
Yeah, when you're scoring the way she did, setting records for points in a game, points in a tournament, field goals attempted, she was just on fire, and there was no stopping her in the state tournament last year.
That was the first time Wagner cracked the 50-point barrier, actually the second time that season. If you're curious, the single game record in all of high school basketball is 58.
So she was in the ballpark. If they'd had 5 more minutes, she very well might have got there.
But one thing to keep an eye on, New Richland plays an aggressive, swift tempo, and Wagner in that semifinal had 16 turnovers. She'll commit a lot, but John Schultz and the New Richland staff can tolerate that because the positives she and her teammates bring far outweigh the turnover risk.
And the big thing with that is the points off the turnovers. If she commits 16 turnovers, but they get back on defense and perhaps they don't convert baskets on every single one of those, then it's a risk you're willing to take with the amount of points she's going to score every night.
Wagner in that semifinal last year finished with 48 points, 13 rebounds. Coley did get 16 points in the second half and 19 rebounds, but after that game, she made a realization or had an epiphany and said if she had been more assertive, the outcome could have been different. The two-way bracket last year, you could have put those same 4 semifinal teams at it again, and you would have had a different champion.
And that's what both coaches kind of said, is especially on the Washburn side, he feels like if they'd had a different opponent, they could have gotten a little farther and perhaps been in that championship game. And then when you get to that final game, all bets are off.
Again, no state tournament or section tournament seedings on the line. Washburn classed up to 3A this year. New Richland staying in 2A. Washburn a top 10 school. New Richland number 1 in 2A. The rematch is underway. Washburn wearing the white, New Richland wearing the black. Emma Shepard pump fakes, backs off. Shepard, a mid-range threat, gets about 8 points a game. Lucia Renikoff really stepping up this year as the point guard, the junior. And she is a solid option. Carlie Wagner gets the poke, and Renikoff will let it go out of bounds, which is a smart thing to do.
We saw right away at the beginning, they never got the chance to get the ball down to Chase Coley. Immediately double-teamed in the block, immediately to start the game.
Washburn noted the box and one formation is the style they struggle with the most. Edina pulled that off with great success in their 42-41 win over the Millers back in December. Coley in trouble and draws the foul late. Foul is on Overgaard. Chase Coley going to the line. One area she has evolved immensely is free throw shooting. Last year, shot about 60% from the free throw line. This year, Coley has bumped that figure up to 83%.
And it always seems that no matter what level you watch sports at, high school, college, even in the NBA or the WNBA, free throws matter. There's so many games you look at, a team loses by 5 or 6 points and they've missed 6 or 7 free throws. It's the difference in the game.
Free throws making the difference at another Minneapolis school, Minneapolis North. Coley makes both, and I have to imagine Lisa Bluter will be highly appreciative of those free throw sniping abilities when she switches to the black and gold next year. Nope, foul called on the contact. Wagner has the rock, finds Hannah Lundberg wearing 0-0. From 15, Wagner is short. Offensive rebound, foul and one! Jade Schultz. So much for that ankle injury.
She seems to be, adrenaline is one of those things that can carry her through the start of the game, and she clearly seems to be on it right now.
Jade Schultz averaging 13 points and 8 rebounds per game. Third all-time in Panthers scoring history. You can imagine who the first position is. She completes a 3-point play, and the Panthers up 3-2. It's the middle of a 5-game set here. This is part of the Super 60 Metro Outstate Showcase. Well, there's one way around a double team. Chase Coley finds the hole and posts up.
And that was impressive. 2 dribbles around the backside, an easy layup using the glass. If she can do that all night, it's going to be a very close game.
Coley averaging 25.5 points per game, and that's going to be a foul on Kendra Zellner-Smith as she bumped Carlie Wagner. The New Richland fan base, very devoted. I don't know if you were at the state tournament last year, but they brought the biggest crowd of all 4 finals. That's going to be a foul on Renikoff, and the Millers already have 3 personal fouls.
And even bigger than that, once they won the championship and went back home, the grand marshals of the big parade were the New Richland girls.
They were getting autograph requests. They were being asked to attend birthday parties. They have become celebrities in the 4-city cooperative. Coley got the deflection, and the shot is off the mark. Dead ball rebound to Washburn. One area to keep in mind, not much space on the baselines, so you may not see as many charges as you would even at Washburn's gym. Zellner-Smith almost a steal by Lundberg, finds Coley, kicks out, Wilson, long 2. That's short. Rebound Lundberg. She's pushing. Dishes to Wagner. Got it. Wagner had 40 points last night, averaging 36 per game, the state's leading scorer. Washburn throws it away.
And in a game like this, turnovers will be killer. If you leave your end of the court with empty, with no free throws, no baskets, this is too high scoring of a team on the New Richland side to give away empty possessions.
And one of the keys to the game for Minneapolis Washburn, we didn't note this, but limiting turnovers. They do commit several. But much like New Richland has Carlie Wagner to compensate, Washburn has high caliber talent to make up for miscues. Jade Schultz has it, loses control. Jump ball, possession arrow favors the Panthers.
Now, as somebody myself who was from southern Minnesota, I graduated from Maple River High School, again, another stone's throw from Richland. We played New Richland many times in the mid to early 2000s. And again, small towns do interesting things like that, make people the grand marshals of parades. It's kind of a neat little feel.
Marty Wagner over to her older sister Carlie for 3. Too strong. Racing in for her rebound. And she'll try the reverse layup. That's off the mark. Zellner-Smith has it, draws the foul. It will go against Carlie Wagner.
You don't see a lot of rebounding of your own three-point basket shots at any level.
But Wagner is a state champion in track in the high jump a couple of years ago, so she has just as much versatility as Chase Coley does for Washburn. 5-4 the score, 15 minutes to go in the first half, and probably the most anticipated game of this Metro Outstate Challenge today. Zellner-Smith was looking for Coley. Natalie Holdall there. Renikoff for 3. Bullseye. Natalie Holdall, she's a heady player, so even if she doesn't score a lot, Tyler Coley will leave her on the floor, and that was an example, saving the play and giving Renikoff a chance at a 3. Blocked by Coley. She averages 8 a game. Schultz around the baseline, throws it away.
And one thing you hear, when you hear that Carlie averages over 30, Coley averages over 20 a game, you assume that there's maybe not going to be as much passing. We've seen a lot of good passing early in this game on both ends, working the ball around, so it's not just, hey, we got to get it just to our star player and expect them to score all the points.
Well, Carlie Wagner, reminiscent of Lindsay Whalen as far as her position goes. That's going to be a turn. No, I thought it was going to be a turnover, but it was deflected by New Richland. Chase Coley models her game after Elena Deladon of the Chicago Sky, who represents the new breed of post players, those who not only can do your classic post-up moves, as Holdall misses the 3, but can provide passing options. Outlet pass to Wagner. Goodbye. 7-all. Holdall single-handedly got Washburn in contention with the Dinah. That's off of New Richland. It stays with the Millers. Her shooting can be up and down, but again, when you have a high IQ, you'll stay on the floor because the intangibles are just as valuable as the stats.
Yeah, and you see that at every level. It's not always about the person that scores the most points, but the person that works the hardest, the person that is the best on defense. Sometimes they play a very crucial role when they're not the high-scoring type of individual.
Holdall got it on the feed from Renikoff. That's her first field goal. Holdall averaging about 8 points per game.
And that was great movement. I mean, that from one end of the court to the other. Ball never touched the ground. 4 passes. Get it inside for a jump shot.
Wagner pulls up. Swish. I've got a feeling we're going to need a little more space on my score sheet here. It goes up to 45 points. I wouldn't be surprised if Wagner threatens to break it.
I'm glad we've got backup pens in our pockets.
Coley has it. She's guarding against Wagner. Finds Renikoff. Open for 3. Plinko.
And that's a big thing. If they're going to take Chase Coley out of the game in the middle, there's going to need to be other people to score points. And Renikoff with a couple of threes here early doing some of that.
Renikoff averaging 13 points per game, a 43% field goal shooter. Free throws coming for New Richland. The foul will be assessed to Kendra Zellner-Smith. Actually, Chase Coley. Kendra Zellner-Smith was trying to divert it.
She was trying to
get
it on her.
She fooled me, but that's why I'm here. And at the line, Carlie Wagner. She needs 20 points or more in this game to take over 7th spot on the all-time scoring list. Again, not going to catch Rebecca Dahlman's total of 5,060, but she is one of only 11 players to cross the 3,000-point barrier. And that list includes folks like Taylor Hill. Tia Elbert of Tartan just crossed that list last night.
I think we can pencil her in for 7th, where we're not going to come up short in this game, I don't think.
I don't think so either. Coley, one-on-one coverage. Couldn't get it in. Renikoff open for 3. Not that time. Rebound up for grabs. Aaliyah Wilson comes up with it. Holdall. No. Sometimes I wonder if they back off or they get a better look. You see so many players, it's instinct, not just Washburn, but every team. They're so eager to get a shot up after an offensive rebound. There is no shot clock, so you have plenty of time. That's my pet peeve.
Yep.
Wagner dishing. What? Hit the scoreboard. We heard that thud. Any higher, she might have knocked out the lights. We would have had to stop the game.
Oh, goodness. And there, too, that's one of those, she looked to make the extra pass. That was an open jumper in the lane. You expect to see someone like Carlie Wagner shoot that ball. They're trying to facilitate, trying to get her teammates involved. Can't complain about it.
And she averages 9 assists per game, so she's used to it. Dead ball rebound to the Panthers. New Richland, the odds-on favorite to repeat in Class 2A. If Washburn were in that class, that might be open for discussion, but New Richland has floored their opponents this season. Page over guard on the inbound feed. The closest margin New Richland has had this season was a 7-point win over Kenyon Wanamingo. Holdall, mid-range off the mark. Panthers have a 1-point lead with 11:57 left in the first. Wagner kicks out to number 1, Maddie Wagner. She and Marnie will rotate starting positions because the other 4 spots are occupied by seniors. That's off of Shepard.
And looking so far into the season, New Richland has scored 90 points 4 times, 80 points 8 times in 13 games. That's a lot of buckets.
Marnie for 3. Plinko! That was Maddie, I should say. My apologies to the Wagner family, but Maddie not apologetic about that tray. The Wagners average about 9 points per game, the Wagner twins, and they've been on the varsity team since 7th grade. Deflected off of Shepard. New Richland gets the turnover.
And we've seen that early in this game. Quick hands from the Panthers. Carlie Wagner's knocked a couple out of bounds. That ball the other direction. They're going after the ball pretty fervently.
Carlie. Intercepted by Lucia Renikoff. Holdall had an opening, but backs off. Coley calling for it. She has a size advantage over Lundberg. Nobody above 5'11" on the New Richland roster. Shepard from long range off the mark. Carlie Wagner swoops in for the board. And she commits a traveling violation, and she knew it. One of those blips. She'll shake it off, but she was not happy about that.
The last 4 shots taken by Washburn have all been behind the three-point arc. They're not getting the ball down as low as they did. Their last basket was that short jumper just outside the paint, and then the last 4 have all been three-point attempts.
And they have some decent three-point shooters. Renikoff shooting 40% from three-point range. But Chase Coley has an advantage inside. Let's see if they can utilize it. They do. Coley goes to the line for more free throws. You mentioned in the open Chase Coley's mother, a runner-up for Miss Basketball. She unfortunately died a few years ago due to a heart attack, and Coley wears her mother's anklet underneath her socks for every game. Considers her biggest role model.
And in an age, unfortunately, where role models are found on the television and on the big screen, it's great to know that someone as grounded as Coley can find someone at home to be able to idolize.
And a consistent threat. As we mentioned, the points and the rebounds and the blocks get all the attention, but she's a great disher and can get a few steals too. Schultz missing the triple. Dead ball rebound to New Richland. If you're wondering what the initials stand for, NRHEG, we mentioned New Richland. The other cities in that co-op, Heartland, Ellendale, and Geneva. Geneva? Okay, so just like the Geneva Convention.
Yes.
I wasn't sure. But I am sure Paige Overgaard got the layup. I would probably get this team to host the Geneva Convention, though, wouldn't you?
Probably.
Renikoff. Over to Holdall. Coley fouled again, draws it on Wagner, and that is going to be her second personal foul. John Schultz with a decision to make. Looks like he's going to keep her in, and New Richland, not a deep team. It's a common thread, actually, in the smaller classes, especially the rural schools. So they're going to live with those fouls. That's Coley's first miss at the free throw line. Her dad, also the head coach, describes her as the best post defender in the state. And I am hard-pressed to argue against that notion.
Well, when you look at the number of rebounds and block shots, I mean, the all-time leader, or very close to that in a lot of those categories, it'd be a hard argument to make.
Coley, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Only player to get to the line so far for Washburn. That's deflected, so no backcourt violation. But Washburn showing a little pressure defense, and that was one of their keys, was establishing ball pressure. Wagner can't break it there, and Zellner-Smith with the rebound. The New Richland keys, we should mention, were to get more offense out of the Wagner twins. Renikoff for 3. That rim. Another quick 3 from the Millers. And to keep Coley under 10, I'm presuming points, but there's Coley with the disruption. And you see Overgaard had a point-blank look. Marnie Wagner is there to clean it up, but Chase Coley can really mess things up in the post for you.
None of those shots seem to have any confidence. They're just kind of being tossed up there, and she's getting her hands on half of them.
Again, back-to-back 5-by-5 games. Washburn getting the timeout call before the jump ball was issued, so with 8:44, a stoppage in play.
30-second timeout.
I got to tell you, when I was in school back in the late 90s, early 2000s, we never had this many fans at one of our ladies basketball games because it was still just brooding. The WNBA was just starting, but now with the exposure of people like Lindsay Whalen and Janelle McCarville from Minnesota, these girls get such a great opportunity to be out there and get to be known, and it's great to see a full gym.
We've discussed a lot of records. Well, Carlie Wagner holding school records in points and steals for New Richland. Both players are chasing records, even though Chase Coley has already attained one. She is in position coming into this game, had 114 blocks, well on pace to pass her own single season mark in that category. And Carlie Wagner also right on the cusp, if you were to extrapolate the numbers of the single season scoring mark that was set by Dahlman last year at 1165. Wagner had the second highest total last season, 1,110. Zellner-Smith was there on the weak side, and she'll get free throws, and that's what happens when you abandon the weak side.
And speaking of block shots, last year Chase Coley set the state record for blocks in a game, 21 in a game against Hutchinson. And she has, like you said, the two top most in a season, 255 last year, 216 the year before. That's a lot of swatting down low.
Zellner-Smith at the free throw line. .45% free throw shooter. Doesn't get a lot of attempts, though. And splits there. Washburn 6 of 8, though, from the free throw line. And that's one reason they're able to stay in this game. Renikoff pulls up, off the mark. And they're going to call the foul on Zellner-Smith. That's her second personal. 8:22 left, and New Richland-H-E-G saying keeping Coley under 10. Well, she already has 7 points. Remember, she did not score in their last meeting, the state semifinal a year ago. Schultz for 3, off the heel. Dead ball rebound to Washburn. In the game, number 20, Dallas Riley for the Millers. And a steal. It's Jade Schultz who picks it up on the outlet to Wagner. Yes! Wagner has broken 10 already. Although she'll do more damage in the second half if her numbers go according to form. Zellner-Smith fadeaway off the mark. That's off of Jade Schultz. Washburn will keep it.
And we've seen now from New Richland, that's the second time that Carlie's broken her way down the court for a wide open look on a layup. We haven't seen that kind of fast break yet from the Washburn side of things.
As we mentioned, this game could have bearings on Miss Basketball. You figure Wagner and Coley are the front runners. Riley missing from 3. A lot of outside shots from the Millers. The box and one strategy, keeping Coley from getting involved from the floor. Schultz has it, guarded by Riley, working off the screen of Wagner. And New Richland still eyeing. Very patient offense here. Schultz for 3. That was strong. Maddie Wagner picked up the rebound. And John Schultz was looking to get more production out of those twins. He feels sometimes they defer too much to their older sister and need to assert some confidence on their end. That's not to say they're not bad players. They're great at what they do, but sometimes you get a little too accustomed to routines. That's going to be a foul on Coley.
She was in position. It was one-on-one. Carlie to the net, but she just got more arm than she did ball.
John Schultz has said Wagner is a player he has never seen before. Increased her commitment to the weight room this year. I'm proud of her strength. She's not afraid to flex her muscle. Headed to Minnesota next year. And the offense is designed to make Wagner one pass away from a scoring play. A blend of people pleaser and a very competitive persona. And I think that's why Wagner became a darling, especially after the state tournament last year. On cue, she gets the steal. She has numbers. Look out! Free throw's coming. The foul, I believe, will be tagged to Renikoff. No, it's Wilson, her second, and Washburn in the penalty. Wagner, we mentioned, reminiscent of Lindsay Whalen, not just in her athleticism, but in her demeanor. In the breakout game, when she beat Bram, she was so nervous about all the media that wanted to get a word with her that she hid behind her coach. And if I'm correct, Wagner has made all of her free throws. 6 of 6.
There's something to be said in a year like 2014 for humility. Somebody that isn't, sort of boastful or full of themselves, just is a team player and cares a lot about the game, but doesn't let that get in the way of just how good she really is.
Coley with the hole, but not enough. Gets her own rebound, though, and will get more free throws. Again, Chase Coley not being active from the floor, but you see the heightened assertiveness from her game compared to last year's duel between these two teams. She's working her way to the free throw line and finding points from the charity stripe. But she's missed a couple now. Missed both. And New Richland with a 10-point lead. Coley with the swat. And to finish up that point on Wagner and Whalen, if you remember Lindsay Whalen, she was quite shy in her Minnesota Golden Gopher days. Much more communicative now at the Minnesota Lynx, but back then she had to be instructed to look up at the cameras and reporters when she was talking. That's not much of a problem these days.
No.
Wagner embracing that role a little more quickly. Last year had no hesitation or apprehension about approaching media. Washburn wanted to travel on Lundberg. Schultz, high pass, she's in trouble. Wilson up on her. Finds the hole. It's Maddie Wagner for 3. We got to get the Plinko board out here. We got to get the Plinko board out here. I think we get some high totals today.
Absolutely.
And a foul is called, so Maddie Wagner will go to the free throw line. Maddie Wagner, 8.5 points per game, 5 rebounds per game.
And it hasn't really been a lot of baskets. It's been a lot of free throws that have built this lead to 13 with only 5:01 left to go here in the first half. I've been really impressed by New Richland's energy. They've been at the ball. They've been ball hawks. They've been getting on the ground. And they've had more tempo, I think, here in the first half.
Maddie and Marnie, the freshman twins, as we mentioned, varsity players since 7th grade. While they sometimes will pass off to their big sister, John Schultz compliments their athleticism. Both are willing to jump over a 6-footer for a rebound and catch a ball at the highest point. Great with the timing. And they're on point from the free throw line. They've made all 8. New Richland's not playing like a small 2A school, are they?
They're playing very fast. They're playing very big. Great defensive performance thus far here in the first half.
Carlie Wagner will get more free throws. The foul is the second on Renikoff. And for Washburn, as Wagner goes to the line, that's the first miss. They have scheduled a lot of tough opponents, and this, I think, is a big game for New Richland because they can't control their conference. They play in the Gopher. So to get these non-conference games against high-caliber opponents, remember that thrilling matchup of last year, this will be great preparation for a likely state tournament appearance.
A telling sign in the first half, Carlie Wagner 15 points, Washburn 16 points. And we've got a big 16-point deficit here so far.
And Wagner, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. Coley, 6 of 10. The foul is on number 11, Anna Stork. That's her first personal. And timeout is called by Washburn. Millers are in the bonus here. It's worth noting, Washburn, I covered some of the previous games. They fell to about 12 points against Edina, a team that plays deliberate, almost Providence Academy style ball, and they almost pulled off a comeback. Holdall had a clean look that just didn't go in. So Washburn is not going to be too bristled by this deficit, at least at this point.
And there's a lot of game left. You got to imagine an entire second half. Plus, I mean, they could go on a quick 8-0 run here to close out this half, and it's a whole new ballgame heading into halftime.
Few things the Washburn Millers team have done. This was interesting. You have that 1-point heartbreaking loss to Edina, and right after that, they had to clear out the gym to host the Hoop and Honeys Clinic. What they do, and they're looking to do this again for Valentine's Day, any parents who wants to get their holiday shopping or Valentine's shopping done, they can drop their kids off at the Washburn gym, and the varsity players will lead them at a basketball clinic. And they host it until the parents come pick them up, and I have to imagine they're getting some great instruction from the likes of Chase Coley and Lucia Renikov.
Absolutely.
And this is a holiday weekend, of course, Martin Luther King Day on Monday, so they're going to get together and host a pancake breakfast and then watch a playing of the I Have a Dream speech. One of the most famous. Coley has missed her last 3 free throws. Started hot, 6 of 6, and has turned cold. But she gets the rebound here. Double dribble violation, though, and I feel the Panthers come in with poise. Remember, they were the victors in this matchup a year ago. They're used to the big stage, having gone there 2 years in a row. So this game, perhaps not as overwhelming for them as it might be for the Millers. Zellner-Smith draws the foul. Free throw's coming.
And to go back to the clinic, I mean, to be able to say that you got to spend some time with currently the number 94 ranked player by ESPN in Chase Coley, that's kind of one of those neat things you can say as you get older that, okay, now I'm on the team, and a few years ago, I got to learn from her now that she's at the University of Iowa and perhaps WNBA someday.
Zellner-Smith split on her last trip. She has just 1 point. Another empty possession for the Millers. Wagner showing her speed. Backs off, guarded by Jasine Patterson. Bump. What's the ruling? Deflected off of Washburn, so no foul called. That's what I thought at first. Schultz open, the long pass. Shot is also long, though, and dead ball rebound to the Millers.
She's had 2 open looks like that on the last 2 possessions, and then both have not gone in.
Zellner-Smith to Coley, and she's tagged by Carlie Wagner. That's her 3rd personal foul. Coley goes back to the line, but remember, she has missed her last 3. Hit her first 4. And Wagner will take a seat. This is a big chance for the Millers.
And this is where you have to say, you've got to look now and say, okay, their best players on the bench, our best players in the game. We've got to facilitate to Coley and get some points back.
I will say this, Coley is having the same difficulties as she did with Edina getting entry passes, but when she does get the ball, although her free throws have been off today, she's finding more ways to get involved. And she drains the 15-footer. I think we found the problem. Jasmine Patterson gets in there, but she's going to be hit with a foul. That will send Maddie Wagner to the line.
And we're seeing some great intensity from her for number 21. She's been a ball hawk. She came right into Carlie when she pulled down that big rebound, came all the way down the court, and she was right there to stop her and ended up getting the ball out of bounds over there that ended up in a missed shot and a ball coming the other way.
Maddie Wagner with 8 points. Made her first 2 free throws. We mentioned the devotion of the New Richland fan base. In their games against Hayfield and Kenyon Wanamingo, both home games, they had to turn fans away and get extra seating as Wagner splits on that possession. Ball staying with New Richland.
I would have thought perhaps a blocking foul on the collision, but they're just going to give him the ball.
There was such a demand for tickets that they had to open up their staging area, the gym and the stage in the same room against smaller schools, more common. Timeout called by John Schultz as New Richland looking a little puzzled there.
Well, it was a lot of pressure over here. You know, there's only so much room on this side of the court. When you pick up your dribble and you've got 2 bodies in your face, your vision almost gets cut in half as opposed to when you're in the middle. So having the opportunity to look around and then, you know, when you get trapped in the corner, well, thankfully the coach called the timeout, or there may have been a turnover there.
So even with the 200 extra seats they get by adding that staging area, they still had to turn fans away. The town has essentially adopted this team. We mentioned they've been requested to many gatherings. And John Schultz says they've responded with this attention with a motivation to give back, and he feels it makes them feel like their contributions are meaningful, which is something you want to establish regardless of your record in high school sports, giving these kids a sense of achieving something. Panthers up by 14, 33-19, and you see Washburn getting a little more invasive on defense, but we haven't seen a fast break look yet that we've seen out of New Richland.
Right. And Chase Coley clearly has the height advantage over everybody else on the New Richland defense. If they can get the ball back here and get it down to her, it's going to be a mismatch.
Foul on Holdall. Free throws coming for Hannah Lundberg. Lundberg not active on the scoring chart. 2.5 points per game, 4 rebounds per game. But John Schultz highlights her mental and physical toughness, and not once has she complained about the number of points she scored or the publicity.
One of those grit players that every team has to have. They're going to contribute a little bit, but it's the intangibles, the stuff that doesn't appear on a box score that matters.
And Hannah Lundberg, if you remember that state championship against Bram, she made a key pick on the final sequence to prevent Bram from getting a fast break look with 5 seconds left and preserve a 60-59 win in one of the best championship finals I've ever seen in state tournament basketball. Jasmine Patterson open. Short. Coley deflects it to Holdall. Swish.
A long 2.
You talked about the height of Chase Coley, and that was a 6'3" frame, proving its worth.
We see some full court pressure now from Washburn, and then a knockaway here.
Deflected off of Coley, and that was how Washburn constructed their run against Edina to tie the game. They couldn't lead. Chase Coley got 3 steals in a row to lead the comeback attempt. And the ball is live again. It's still up for grabs. Jump ball. Washburn with the possession arrow. 2:21 left in the first half. Zellner Smith to Coley, one-on-one coverage. A clean block by Lundberg. Coley was fading away there. Here's Maddie Wagner on the outlet play, and Patterson bumps into her.
There was foul number 21, Jasmine Patterson. Her second personal foul. Panthers shooting 2.
lot of Millers with 2 fouls here.
New Richland is certainly earning it from the free throw stripe here in the first half.
They've only missed 2 free throw attempts thus far. And I jinxed him. But Schultz fights for the offensive rebound. Wagner, that's going to be short. Renikoff with the rebound. Holdall doesn't have breakaway speed, so she'll have to back off. But she's open for 3. Can't hit it. Coley leaps up for the rebound and gets the putback.
And then there's that height advantage. The rebound was almost in the hands of New Richland, but Coley got a hold of it, put it back in.
It's a 13-point margin, but New Richland's going to call a timeout. We spoke of the keys to the game, containing Coley to less than 10. She already has 12, but not a lot of support. Lucia Renikoff usually is the second option, and folks like Shepard and Holdall not productive. Meanwhile, on the New Richland side, Wagner has 15 points. Carlie does, and then her sister has 10.
Anyway, we talked about the opportunity to sort of dig into that lead with Carlie on the bench. It's been 13, 14, kind of stagnant. You know, Washburn's put up a few more points here, but they're not getting the defensive stops to be able to cut into the lead any.
If you're wondering how difficult it was to get a rematch between these two, the answer is not very. The two coaches spoke with each other following the tournament and agreed to have this rematch. Both wanted this. New Richland sees it as a game where they're not expected to win, so it gives them a chance to get some of that state tournament pressure a little early. And Washburn sees this as a chance to make a campaign run for Miss Basketball, but it's another line in their plethora of tough opponents. New Washburn has played Lakeville South, Woodbury, Tartan, Duluth East, and Edina in the 4A class. And again, the top 2A school in New Richland. Because they feel that scheduling these tough will prepare them for postseason play. Maddie Wagner, where did she get that move from? I don't know.
Probably a lot of hours going one-on-one with her big sister and figuring out a way to get up and under her.
Lundberg with the deflection. If you're wondering, the state tournament championship for New Richland last year was their first in school history. And along the way, they've developed a lot of rivalries. The Bram one was fun. Coley, 17-footer off the mark. They wanted to pound the post, but they're forcing Coley to the outside. Again, similar to what happened with Edina. 45 seconds. You hear one shot from the fans. And Marnie Wagner will back off. New Richland setting up that way. And they draw the foul.
And I think an important thing here too, even though, you know, Carlie got her second foul, being able to rest for a solid 8, 10, 12 minutes of real time as opposed to game time, having her team maintain that lead, giving her the ability to come out in the second half fresh and ready.
Patterson with the third personal foul. Jade Schultz at the line. Her dad believes that her stat line would be higher if every game was like this, where her services would be required. She splits there. Washburn has time for one shot. They could use it. Coley to Delner Smith. They're going to look to Coley. She posts up and she draws the foul. That's one thing Chase has been able to do, but again, not able to get a lot of clean looks inside.
And she seems to be favoring that move where she dribbles obviously to her left hand to the middle of the paint, as opposed to sort of the one we saw earlier where she went around the defender and made the layup on the other side.
But we are seeing a more aggressive stance from her in the paint against Edina, much more apprehensive. Got very few touches, finished that game with just 6 points and 1 field goal. Here, she's at least getting to the free throw line with a higher frequency. So she's drawing fouls, and that may pay dividends in the second half. Coley up to 14.
22, Olivia Downing, getting a 4 for the Millers.
New Richland-H-E-G with plenty of time. Shania Wesley in the game for the Millers, 24. Schultz has it. Spins, finds Lundberg, and she will not draw the foul. New Richland does keep the ball, but they're going to have to get it off quickly here, 1.8 seconds. They do. Lundberg for 3. Off the mark. But New Richland with a dominant first half, shutting down the paint. They're up 39-25, and their outside shooting has been on point.
A very good first half. We saw sort of an early push by New Richland and a good strong defensive intensity in the last 8 to 10 minutes of that half by the Millers.
Your thoughts as the teams enter the halftime break? Obviously, they want to get more inside play. Washburn does, and for New Richland, Carlie Wagner had some time to rest. We'll pause for a few minutes and come back with first half stats and more analysis. This is high school girls basketball, the Super 60 Metro Outstate Challenge. Welcome back to Owatonna High School as we continue our coverage of the Super 60 Metro Outstate Showcase event. Mike Beaton here with Kyle Lindblom. Minneapolis Washburn Millers, the 6th ranked team in 2A, battling the number 1 team in 3, I should say, the number 1 team in 2A, the New Richland-H-E-G Panthers. Panthers hold a 39-25 lead at halftime. Let's take a look at the numbers. Carlie Wagner, 15 points, had to sit out the last 4 minutes with foul trouble, but getting a lot of help from her younger sister, Maddie. She has 12 points, and those are the highlights on New Richland's end.
And just listening to some of the fans talk during the early part of halftime, they said they couldn't remember a game where Carlie had 3 fouls in the first half.
Well, now they can.
There you go.
Minneapolis Washburn, Chase Coley has 14 points, but no one else has more than 4, and as we've discussed before, New Richland doing the box and 1 strategy. It's a scheme Washburn admits is their weakest to adapt to, and so far New Richland has succeeded in shutting down the post play.
Not only that, they've had quick hands near half court. They've gotten a few tip-aways. They've knocked the ball out, and they've had the fast break advantage. We've seen them 3 times bring the ball down on fast courts to the Millers. I believe had 1 kind of at the end that turned into a 3-point miss. But the tempo has been much more the style that New Richland, I think, wants to play as opposed to what Washburn does.
And ironically speaking, in my pregame chats with the coaches yesterday, Tyler Coley had said what Edina did to them was something they were hoping to do against New Richland, but the Panthers, they may not have the deepest of teams, but they are a speedy group.
They're tenacious. They're ball hawks. Wherever the ball goes, they go. We saw some of that from Washburn at the very end of the first half, but it wasn't enough to create a couple of turnovers, fast breaks, or points.
Now, between the two, Wagner had 3 fouls, but she had 15 points. Coley hasn't been too explosive, but she's been getting a lot of points at the free throw line. I know we've discussed the missed basketball implications, among other things. I don't know who I'd give it to right now.
You know,
Wagner's had the flashier plays, but
when you look at the complete stat line, Chase down here has had 2 or 3 blocks, and she's pulled down a couple of rebounds. She almost feels more complete when you look at the stat line. Well, you're looking for somebody with the flash, with the ability to score the points. Carlie's going to be the one you look at.
The state's leading scorer in Carlie Wagner battling the state's leading rebounder and blocker in Chase Coley. And Coley, we mentioned going after her own single-season blocks record. She has the 3rd highest single-season rebounding total, which she accomplished last year, just over 500. New Richland wearing the black, Washburn wearing the white. Second half underway. Carlie Wagner back on the floor, but she does have 3 fouls. And Marty Wagner has 3 points, 5 overall. Outside shooting, a huge influence so far. New Richland making their triples. Coley from the elbow, got it.
Chase Coley.
And the perimeter shooting is a facet she added to her game this season. And once more, when you're modeling your game after the new breed of post players, you're going to see those long jumpers. And she has the rebound, has numbers, goes up against Wagner.
That wasn't much going up against. Carlie kind of got out of the way. Chase had a head of steam and made an easy layup there. Of course, she's going to be apprehensive with 3 fouls already. She can't really get in the way at this time.
Schultz still not hitting her triples. And Washburn with numbers again. Shepard will back off this time. New Richland looking for a carrying violation. The officials may have missed it, but we play on. Shepard can't get the reverse. Coley, no. And Washburn keeps it. And there's that lack of space working against New Richland there. I mean, it's hard to say what would have happened, but now we have a foul before the inbound play. It goes against New Richland.
Yeah, they're going to talk about it.
Panther foul number 12, Chase Schultz.
It's on Schultz, her second.
Team foul in the second half.
Shepard, baseline, swish. That's her sweet spot, and she gets on the board.
And just that quickly, down to an 11-point lead. Washburn has come out with some intensity here in the second half.
Her cousin, Evan Shepard, will play in the next game against Waseca. He put in 23 points to help beat Minneapolis North in a game 2 days ago. Wagner double team. Breaks through the hole, gets the layup. Now we're seeing the flashiness that I think a lot of fans were waiting for.
I mean, she was 25 feet away from the hoop in distress, and she carved through the defense for what seemed like an easy layup.
Chase Coley almost was stripped, but a foul is called.
The fans disagree.
We're right in front of the New Richland fans. Again, they heavily outnumber the Washburn fans, but we are closer to their realm. Zellner-Smith, that was way too strong. Go ahead.
A great inbounds play, got the look they wanted. She just threw that thing awful hard off the backboard.
And that's one thing, and of course you're going to deal with that with a lot of teams. I hold that thought because Carlie Wagner has entered the building. 20 points for the Minnesota recruit. Redikoff, short. Chase Coley draws the foul, and you see her becoming far more active already on the boards.
She's down in the paint. They've had her kind of push back and kind of run around, but she has done a great job just in these
The foul's on Wagner.
Oh, no.
4 fouls on Carlie Wagner with 15:32 to play. Didn't mean to jump on you, but this is a major development. And John Schultz going to keep her on the floor, but again, she is the team's best player. It's one of those situations you're going to take that risk.
Maddie Wagner returns for the Panthers.
Nope, now they sub her out. Maddie Wagner comes in, Carlie Wagner goes out.
It'll be interesting to see now. This will be the second time they've had an opportunity, possibly with extended time with her on the bench, if Washburn's able to kind of answer the bell and get some points.
But remember, Maddie Wagner was brilliant in her first stint with Carlie Wagner out of the floor, and this was the opportunity that John Schultz spoke of for those two to assume a leadership role. Again, with Carlie on the floor, they'll check to her. With her out of the game for the moment, it's their turn. That was a traveling violation. Kendra Zellner-Smith. There's a big difference between those two. They're both post players, but you see Chase Coley has much more poise. Kendra Zellner-Smith still raw.
And again, when you can get an offensive player to pick their dribble up 25 feet away from the basket and the ball comes in your hands, you get maybe that adrenaline that, oh, we got to push, we got to go. Pick that ball up, take a second, you've done the turnover. Unfortunately, now you give the ball right back with a chance for them to score.
47-33. New Richland has led throughout most of this contest. That was last touched by Holdall. Panthers will keep it.
There is a marked tenacity by Washburn here early in the second half. They are going after the ball. They are trapping. They are double teaming. They're coming after it.
Carlie Wagner pulls up. Off the rim, no good. Paige Overgaard with the rebound. Here's Jade Schultz. Struggled from three-point range, but gets the bounce there on the off-balance jumper. Shepard backs off. Coley out to Renikoff. Back to Coley for three. Bullseye! Just the third three-pointer for Coley, but that was just her 10th attempt. Doesn't shoot the three much, but a big triple. Carlie Wagner with the counter.
I think the halftime did both of these teams good. They have come out with some awesome shooting performance here so far.
Shepard inside to Coley. Draws the coverage. They swing around, but they can't hit it. That was Aaliyah Wilson from three-point range. Panthers up by 16. Overgaard getting the entry pass inside, and Renikoff with the foul. That, I believe, is her third. It is her third.
First team foul in the second half.
Carlie Wagner again. We are absorbing the emotional energy from the New Richland fans with every play.
Had that three gone in for Marty, that might have brought the house down. There was a fervor behind us that was starting to build.
Aaliyah Wilson hit with her fourth personal foul. Paige Overgaard to the line. New Richland 12 of 16 from the free throw line in the first half. Washburn 9 of 14. Overgaard comes up empty. And New Richland started 8 for 8 since then. They are 4 from their last 10. Renikoff open for three. Yes! That's her second triple. As we mentioned, 40% three-point shooter.
And she's been looking for that shot the last 3 times down the floor, and they've defended it very well. But good passing there got her open for the three on that attempt.
John Schultz calls timeouts. Washburn looking to get their season-high winning streak. They've won their last 5 games. They had a 5-game winning streak snapped with the loss to Edina, but they've won 10 of their last 11, which is quite impressive. And for New Richland, as we mentioned, all W's.
13-0 to start the season.
And you just run down the list, and again, not all of these games are challenges, but they don't back away from what they do well, which is that high-flying offense. New Richland also getting involved with the elementary school program, hosting clinics for them, running some drills, and the New Richland players will even officiate games that the elementary kids in the New Richland area take part in.
Oh, I can remember getting called to do that a few times when you're on the varsity team and they have got, halftime at the B squad game. They'd have the little guys running around and they'd pluck, one of the guys and say, hey, we need to throw on the stripes and grab a whistle. You know what you're doing out there, and it's always fun to watch people play.
And the PTO, they auctioned off a birthday party, but the winner, instead of a party, wanted the team to attend her practice. So they did, and set up a 3-on-3. And Jade Schultz still not hitting the mark from three-point range. Chase Coley with the rebound. On the run. Draws the foul. That would have been acrobatic had she put in the basket, but smart play by Chase, knowing she had transition. The transition chance. Just draw the foul and keep racking them up against the Panthers. That may wear them down. They already sent Carlie Wagner back to the bench. And Chase Coley with 24 points. Again, most coming from the free throw line, so not allowed 24 points in comparison to the 20 by Carlie Wagner, but This is an encouraging sign to see, regardless of who wins this game, to see Chase working her way to the free throw line in a situation where she's getting boxed out on the box and one formation.
A very wise play.
Overgard knew she wasn't going to get that ball, so she swapped it off of Holdall. But Washburn getting much more invasive in the space, putting a lot more pressure on. Overgard left alone. Strong on the jumper. Kendra Zellner-Smith back in the game. She gets the rebound. Jasmine Patterson also in the game, has 3 fouls.
A bucket here gets the lead back to single digits for Washburn. Or down to single digits.
Washburn will be looking up though. No foul there. Last touch by New Richland. John Schultz said this game would expose the Panthers to things they weren't accustomed to. Again, not getting many quality opponents. Part of that is just conference scheduling. Clean play. Washburn open. Here we go. Maddie Wagner with the finish. Renikoff pulls up for 3. Coley was calling for it. Maddie Wagner again.
You can take one Wagner out, but there's 2 others ready to step up.
We mentioned the Brand game 2 years ago as the breakout for Carlie Wagner. This might be the breakout game for Maddie Wagner. Chase Coley had the feed, but Zellner-Smith couldn't hook up, but deflected by New Richland, and the fans behind us expressing their dismay.
That one perhaps a makeup. The last time down here it looked to me like Coley got fouled on the rejection, and so maybe that's a makeup call.
In any case, Washburn has it. We have no review system. New Richland forcing the steal. Marnie Wagner losing the ball, but a kickball is called. A lot more action in the second half thus far compared to the first.
You almost feel like even though New Richland has a 15-point lead, they can almost feel the Millers on the cusp of a breakout here.
Zellner-Smith getting the steal. Shepard, that's her range, but she's strong. And those quick shots, I'd say it's a pet peeve of mine, as New Richland now pushing the ball, because it doesn't give a chance for your teammates to set up and get in their position for an offensive rebound. But a lot of time left, and with Schultz lining up the 3, I think that's her 5th attempt, and she's come up empty on all 5. Marnie Wagner will try it. Nothing but air. But these games are solid tune-ups and tutoring lessons because we know every team makes the playoffs in the sectional round. So the regular season is all about the drive for the state tournament. Chase Coley draws a foul.
Panther foul on number 2, Marnie Wagner. First personal.
Fouls on Marnie Wagner, her first personal. New Richland with just 1 foul to give. Chase Coley, not the first Minnesota player to head down south at the Hawkeye State. Bethany Doolittle from Hill Murray was recruited by Lisa Bluter. Kasheen Alexander had a phenomenal career with the Hawkeyes. In her junior season, I believe, one of just 2 guards in the NCAA to average a double-double. Camille Walleen from Crookston and Thierra Taylor from St. Paul Central. Iowa has done a great job scouting Minnesota talent and adding many reasons to make Gophers fans jealous of the recruiting efforts of Lisa Bluter. Panthers throw it away. Carlie Wagner still on the bench, but figures to make an impact for the Gophers, but Pam Borton doesn't have the greatest of believers. Chase Coley. What was that?
She is putting this team on her back. If they can continue to play good defense, this game is far from over with an 11-point lead.
That was the craziest weirdest shot I have seen out of Coley this season, but she puts it in. She's up to 29. It's an 11-point game again. Schultz still not hitting the mark, and Coley draws the foul on New Richland. That is their last to give. The Millers will shoot free throws for the final 10:26 of regulation.
And that's big. And I think Coley's made, 5 or 6 in a row here from the free throw line to start this second half.
Her free throw shooting off the scale. She missed 3 early on. Tried to post up there, but New Richland shutting the paint down. Foul, and 1. It's Anna Stork. Anna Stork averaging just 3 a game. You don't see her much, but she draws the foul on Holdall and draws an emphatic cheer from the Panther faithful.
She's one of those people that's going to score 4, 5, 6 points, and it's not going to be impressive, but it's when those points are scored. Washburn clearly with a little bit of momentum. Now a 3-point play can certainly turn the tides back the other way.
Holdall, that was a little out of control, but Chase Coley is there for the cleanup. 31 points. Her season high for the Curious is 38.
And we were talking earlier about Carlie getting to 40. Over and back here, she did step on the center line.
And the officials see it. Washburn putting more pressure, and New Richland succumbing to it thus far. Millers have been flirting with single-digit deficit here to try to get their way back, but this could be an attrition ordeal. Chase Coley, she'll pull up. Pure. 33 for Chase Coley. Foul on Emma Shepard. That is her first personal foul. New Richland, or Washburn, had a few to give.
And the leader, Chase Coley, comes right up to her and says, that's good defense. Keep pressing on defense. Positive reinforcement, keeping her team energized, even though the foul was called.
And Chase Coley much more vocal this season than she was a year ago. She understood her flaws from last year. And as we discussed, felt had she been more aggressive, again, scoreless in the first half against New Richland last year, who knows what the outcome would have been. Schultz finally hits from the perimeter. And the New Richland bench erupts in Jubilee. A push foul is called on Carlie Wagner. Washburn in the bonus. Holdall to the line. The foul is the third against Marty.
And you can see Carlie Wagner starting to get that twitchy leg over there. She wants back in this game pretty bad, but yet she sits on the bench.
And that says something when her team is still up by 13.
And now she's going to check in. No sooner do I make a comment than now's the time.
Your ESP is flawless today. Or she'll have to wait a little bit. Chase Coley, good effort. Emma Shepard working for the O-board. Redikoff, 3, no. Coley, another O-board. Put it in! And the foul!
We mentioned earlier when Carlie was on the bench, you alluded to it. They didn't give up much. They didn't let them get back into the game. This stretch, they have made quite the run. Clearly have the energy.
New Richland's still up by a considerable margin, but Chase Coley with the game of the season. She had 16 points against this group last year. She has more than doubled that total. The foul is assessed to Maddie Wagner. That is her 4th personal. So 2 of the Wagner sisters have 4 fouls. Overgaard has 3. We mentioned New Richland not as deep as Washburn. This is where the Millers could make a charge. Now they have several players flirting with disqualification. Timeout is called. Was it Washburn who called it?
Yes.
With that free throw, Chase Coley up to 36 points. In the open, we spoke of her back-to-back 5x5 games, close to getting back-to-back quintuple doubles. If my research is correct, she is the first player in the state to record one. And coming into this game, she had already had 2 quadruple doubles in her career.
In my high school playing career, I didn't even have a double-double. I didn't even have a game where I had more than like 6 points. So
who had more points between you and your compadre Webster?
I think I outdid him, I would say, a little bit, but it was probably pretty close.
I know Webster still steams a bit. Of course, New Richland having that thrilling rivalry with Bram. Webster calling Bram games for his local radio station, and unfortunately, Bram couldn't come out on top in those 2 games, but when you become, oh, here we go, steal, Redikoff, wide open space.
And that was a turnover by Carlie Wagner. She let herself get trapped, made a bad pass here. It's full court pressure here, a 2-1-2 zone.
8-point game. Wagner, pump fakes. Fouled, and will shoot free throws. The foul is on Kendra Zellner-Smith, and I would not be surprised if New Richland tries to attack her, knowing she doesn't have the reflexes of Chase Coley. Wagner, who has sat most of this game, I think half of the game she has spent on the bench due to foul trouble. Now has to try to keep the Panthers in contention. But there was a sequence as Wagner splits where Coley did come back, but she got hit in the nose, had to sit up for a few minutes, and that stopped Washburn from perhaps completing the comeback. No such injury here thus far. Zellner-Smith draws the foul. That means free throws. Who's it going to be on? It's on Anna Stork, her second.
And you see there, it creates the opportunity. Coley has shot a couple of shots in the lane there, and when they coalesce to her, she's able to dish it out, get it to her teammate for a free throw opportunity.
Chase Coley once more sending encouragement to Kendra Zellner-Smith. Again, not the most polished player, but a solid rebounder to complement Coley in the post. She averages about 7.3 a game. Splits there. Washburn 17 of 24 from the line. New Richland 14 of 21. So free throws about even. 8-point game again. 10-second rule is used in basketball. Wagner was double teamed, and New Richland lucky to find somebody. Schultz for 3. Big time triple. Wagner almost had the steal. Schultz gets it and draws the foul.
And then looking up at the board, I remember looking back at some of New Richland's games where Carlie Wagner was the only player in double figures, and now to see there are several. That is building this lead because other players are contributing.
Without Jade Schultz in the lineup for the state tournament, she was the only player in double figures in the semifinal game against Washburn, and that 50-point outing was the only double-digit mark. That ball deflected by Washburn. Carlie Wagner effectively won the state championship by herself as far as the statistical contributions go.
And from what we've talked about, I'm guarantee if you told her that, she'd probably say absolutely not and try and give the credit to somebody else.
I laugh because I did tease her about that, about another record. Hang on. She gets the dish off to Overgaard.
Great look down low. Had the lane for herself, could have pulled up for the jumper. A great pass underneath for 2.
I teased her about going after Rebecca Dahlman's career record, and her response, absolutely not. They couldn't get the ball into Coley. They double team her, and then she steals it right back. New Richland not giving up, though.
A solid block shot there by 10.
68-55, 6:57 left. Panthers have controlled this throughout. Washburn has not been able to get this within 8. Coley with a left-handed hook, and she has tied her season high. Wagner racing through, pulls up, swing. Wagner up to 23.
And now you have to wonder, how much does Washburn have left in the tank? They put a lot of effort in the first 12 minutes of this half. How much do they have left to either come back and close it out?
Chase Coley breaks 40 for the first time this season. If I'm the Millers, I continue to attack here because you have 2 players with 4 fouls. If you can draw one, Schultz, 3 in a row! 3 players in double digits for New Richland. You don't see that often. This is unbelievable.
You take those 9 points off the board, we're in a whole different ball game.
Kenda Zellner-Smith with the first field goal of the game. The big difference here, no double-digit scores outside of Coley for Washburn. New Richland with 3. You would think the reversal would happen, and Wagner gets the move in against Coley.
And that's the second time Carlie's driven the lane one-on-one, and she's gotten 2 free throws the first time and a layup on this one.
Chase draws the push foul, 5:23 left, and Washburn in the double bonus. New Richland also in the bonus, but with 5:23, still a lot of time left. The Panthers are not a team that's going to kill the clock here. This is not Providence Academy. So, and the foul is on Overgaard. That's your 4th. As we mentioned, try to draw the fouls. Now 3 have 4. This is a major opportunity for the Panthers. And Chase Coley, I mentioned Carlie Wagner was going to threaten to break my score chart here. It's Chase Coley who's doing that. This is going to complicate the missed basketball discussions, especially if the outcome stays as it is.
And it's not a bad thing to have several good, strong, solid girls competing for an award like that.
We had that last year. Nia Coffey, Rebecca Dahlman, Tyshana Johnson, Jessica January, and MC McGrory. And all 5 of them Division I talent. Maddie Wagner drawing the foul, and the Panthers in the bonus here. Foul is on Patterson, her 4th.
And it goes to show with 5 minutes to go, a 75-63 score. I can remember high school girls basketball games when I was in school, and the final score was in the 30s. The conditioning these kids are showing, the ability to play on a big stage like this is amazing, the progression they've made in just the last decade.
This should have been a game for the Timberwolves shootout. Maddie Wagner with 16 points. As we mentioned, this is perhaps her breakout game. She didn't put up big numbers, at least in comparison to her older sister. She comes up empty there, but this is a game I think she's going to get a lot of confidence. 12-point margin. Coley again, and she beat her coverage. She had one-on-one that time, 44 points for the Iowa-bound player, and that's going to be a foul. Patterson's done.
And that is one of the big problems when you're a kind of an overly tenacious defender is, yes, you're going to get some steals and some knockaways, but you're also going to commit fouls. And she was close there to getting that steal, but a little too much body contact on Wagner, fouled out.
And that will send Carlie Wagner to the line. You get 30 seconds after a player fouls out to make a substitution, so both teams taking advantage of that. 4:52 left. Was this worth the trip for Mankato, Kyle?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I got stuck behind an XL Energy truck with a down power line. Didn't think I was going to make it, but I was able to get here in the nick of time.
We've had a lot of fun here. This is the longest trek I made for a game since 5 years ago, when Minneapolis South and Lakeville North played in the Tip-Off Classic up at Becker. Taylor Hill and Rachel Banham in the first of several meetings between the two, because those two played against each other in college, and I imagine we'll get more matchups between those two in the WNBA.
Absolutely, I think, and if these two girls, Coley and Carlie, can continue this, I mean, if they can play at this kind of level in Iowa and Minnesota,
I'm buying tickets for the next Hawkeyes Gophers game.
Yeah, I would love you. Call me up, I'll go with you. We'll bring Webster. He'll feel good about it.
Oh, he would show up for it. Question is, who would he root for? Would that sting of New Richland beating Bram twice still get to him?
That's a good question.
We'll have to ask him. Wagner hits both. New Richland 16 of 25. They are 64% from the free throw line, and a 12-point margin.
Dangerous cross-court pass there, but it was able to get through.
Shania Wesley back in the game, and New Richland up by 12, but the Panthers fans, if you listen to them, as Washburn turns it over, they're not taking this as an automatic win yet. Panthers will probably kill some clock here, or at least force Washburn to play foul and chase with them in the penalty. That's exactly what happens. Carlie Wagner's trip, more free throws coming. It's on Zellner Smith, her fourth. And the points keep tallying up for Carlie Wagner. She's not going to threaten her state tournament numbers, but this is going to be a game Sean Schultz takes note of when they get to the playoffs, especially for the support options on the New Richland squad.
And I think right now, for as great a game as Carlie Wagner has played, Jade Schultz gets player of the game. The 3 threes she's canned this second half have kept the lead where it is and taken a lot of wind out of the sails of Washburn.
And how about Maddie Wagner's performance today?
They can share it.
Natalie Holdall gets the bucket. She's up to 6. But 4 minutes left. Washburn's going to need to get some stops here. And that means more pressure defense. And great management by the Panthers. 3 players with 4 fouls. None of them have fouled out yet. One hops it over the scorers table, and a turnover on the Panthers. Ground rule double had this been another sport, but we got to wait until spring for that one.
I was going to make a Brett Favre over the middle sort of interaction, but I decided not to.
I would have gone with Freeman, the Vikings quarterback.
Oh, is he still on the team?
Well, I don't know how much longer, but you remember that game with the Giants?
I think we all do.
Traveling violation. Emma Shepard jumped a little too quickly. And I noticed this out of Washburn. Again, they have a strong returning core, but they can get a little antsy under pressure situations. But as we've said before, if you play against the lower level teams, you're not going to understand how to get through adversity like this. Wagner with the dish. Finds Jade Schultz. New Richland will eat up more time here. They have a 12-point margin. Renikoff, that's her 4th personal foul. That will send Jade Schultz to the line.
You know, it's plenty of fun to play against a team you know you're better than, to beat them by 20 or 30 points or more. You get your reserves a chance to get into the game, but they're not what matters at the end of the season. When you're playing the best teams in the state, you want to have a game like this where, yeah, maybe you've sort of quelled the storm and stopped them from coming back, but you know that when you get into a game with a great team, you have to be able to do that.
And that is the benefit of the playoff system in Minnesota high school basketball. Jade Schultz misses both free throws. This is a possession where Washburn has to capitalize.
And here come the Panther fans.
Chase Coley pulls up, feed the hot hand, and she is officially broken my scoring chart. She's up to 46. I'm out of space here. They go to 45. Wagner losing the dribble. Traveling violation. Washburn getting another stop and another turnover.
As unbiased as we're supposed to be, I really hope she gets a couple more baskets and makes it an even 50.
Wouldn't that be an irony? Almost a traveling violation on Holdall. There's Chase Coley. Finds Shepard. They're going to try to feed to her inside. She's double teamed. Passes out. Almost lost there, and Holdall, that's off the mark. Shepard didn't have position there. New Richland defense stepping up, over guard, traveling again. Panthers leaving the metaphorical door open.
You see some of that fatigue maybe starting to set in. You start to forget some of those fundamentals. Dribble the ball before you take a step. Late in the game, played a game last night. It's a big game. You can understand it happening.
Chase Coley, that was a tough shot. You can understand her attempt there to try to work her way back in it, but
and you think sort of a flailing layup like that, perhaps she's just trying to draw the foul. Maybe not I'm going to make it, but I'm going to get to the free throw line and shoot a couple.
And with 2:09 left, I'd say New Richland is close to inking this one, but still some room left. Carlie Wagner, that should finish it. New Richland was waiting for that. They knew Washburn would have to go out and pressure them, and that would leave one-on-one coverage. Shepard hits the jumper. Washburn not playing like this one's over. That's the second J for Emma Shepard, and as we said, this is a learning tool, but 81-71, we're getting a lot of offense today.
Absolutely, and you think again, you take Jade Schultz's 3 big threes out of this. We're in a 1-point ball game right now, so those threes are going to end up being huge if this margin stays the same at the end.
And Schultz missed her first 5 before she found her groove beyond the arc. Strong game by our 2 headliners. Chase Coley with 46, Carlie Wagner with 31. I know New Richland gets the win here, but with Coley stepping up and scoring in ways we haven't seen before, she normally is a little more passive to try to set up her teammates, but
there comes a time when you just have to grab the ball and say, you know what, I'll make all the buckets, and let's just get that done.
And how does this game prepare these 2 teams for later in the season? Because there's a lot of games left to play. Washburn in Class 3A, we know they're going to have some tough opponents in the section. Benilde St. Margaret's, I believe, it's the toughest, but you have Fergus Falls in there. They beat Monticello earlier this season at a holiday tournament, edged them out by 3. And for New Richland, again, they figure to get back in the state tournament at least, but how will this game prepare the 2?
Well, I think you go back and you look at it, this is a team in New Richland that scores 90, that scores 80, that blows teams out. And to be able to be within 10 points, to maybe, get to within a couple more at the end, it's a grit thing. It's a test that, hey, this is a really good team. This is a state championship team, and we hung with them all day long.
Carlie Wagner breaking through the hole. Bounce pass to Overgaard, but she had to fade away. Carlie Wagner with a big offensive rebound.
Coley got a piece of that.
Push foul is called. Free throws coming for the Panthers.
Another big thing too, Carlie Wagner averages almost 36 points a game. Even with a couple of free throws, it's going to be, she's still under that. And you take a positive away from a loss if it ends up being a loss. That, hey, here's one of the best players in the state, and we held her under what she normally does.
Foul is on Wilson. She fouls out of the game. Also ends up scoreless. Wagner with 31, with free throws coming. As we mentioned, in the running for Rebecca Dahlman's single-season scoring mark. Of course, they don't worry about the points. John Schultz has said she's vocal during the halftime chat, and since losing a subsection final in her freshman year, has not seen her in an uncomfortable state in big games. Takes on any role they need. And the nominations for Miss Basketball and the McDonald's All-American nod, he believes validates her abilities. Splits there, 11-point margin with 1:20 left. Wagner. Here's a signature play, but she can't get the finish. Free throws coming, but Carlie Wagner with that dagger. New Richland controlled. Washburn teased a little bit, but just did not have the poise beyond Chase Coley today. However, they can take this game and apply it. Another tough opponent awaits them in Minnetonka on Tuesday.
And you think back to the first half. Coley missed 3 free throws, 42. Zeller, she missed several. Those are those little intangibles. You look at the end of the game that when you've missed 7 or 8 of those and you lose by 10 or 12, they can change the complexion of a ball game.
But if it helps them make a deep run in the state tournament, you can take all those losses and throw them out.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a roll-in actually cross the center court line, and that time it did. I think that's a first for me.
A lot of firsts today. Paige Overgaard fouls out. She finishes with 6 points, but New Richland's going to hang on to win this and stay undefeated. Unless Washburn puts together a Tracy McGrady-like run. And for the Millers, this is another quality game they can use. Again, they got a lot of lessons from Edina, and I'd say this is a stepping stone. They struggled early against the box in one set. They found a way to get Chase Coley more involved, even though the other players couldn't. That's something they weren't able to do with Edina. And they did come off a win against Southwest, a team that had been on a surge this season, so they did get a quality win there.
And you can always find positives in a loss. You know, yeah, we didn't win the ball game. The fans might be upset, but you look at those intangibles, the fact that they never gave up. They didn't quit when they were down by 10 or 12 or 14. Chase Coley can look and say, you know what, my team needed me today, and I stepped up, and I got to 47 points on the day. And that's a big thing when you can find good, strong positives out of a defeat.
And remember, both coaches wanted this rematch.
It hasn't disappointed, I can assure you of that.
And I can see why. This has been absolutely phenomenal.
And though with free throws here at the end, this score may be a little more inflated. This was a great second half and a fantastic performance by two very good ball teams.
For Washburn, they'll be looking to utilize their support options more. Again, consistency has been an issue. Lucia Renikoff in particular in these bigger games has struggled. Scoreless against Edina. Has 9 points here. That's something I think Tyler Coley will be looking to get to address in the remainder of the season. For New Richland, they got a little over-aggressive, a little overreactionary at the end, but again, I'd say this is a breakout game for Maddie Wagner. Chase Coley for three. And she draws the foul. 3 free throws coming.
Shooting 2, toe on the line.
Okay, 2 on the line, but you don't see her giving up, though.
No, absolutely not.
I'll say this, and we may be biased being Minnesota folks ourselves, but if Coley and Wagner are not on the All-American list for that All-Star game, it would be a disappointment.
Well, just looking on the ESPN rankings, Carlie number 54 and Coley number 94, and you got two girls in your state in the top 100, that ain't bad.
Chase Coley missing both free throws, but that's inconsequential at this point. Jade Schultz will shoot a couple more. This may hurt Washburn's standings a bit because they're playing against a lower class school in 2A, but...
And Coach Schultz emptying the bench here, getting some other girls a chance to get into a big game like this. Standing ovation for Maddie Wagner and her cohorts.
Tyler Coley did say Chase was ready for a box and one, and I'd say she showed signs of that today. And this team, we haven't seen the last of them. Holdall getting a three-pointer, and Tyler Coley's going to call timeout, I think, to get his players out of there with the game over. So Chase Coley will finish with 47 points. Carlie Wagner with 34. Chase Coley, strong individual game, but as we said, this is going to stress the imperative to get more consistency out of the other players. And for New Richland, another quality win. And every game they play, I find it harder to argue against them winning another 2A championship.
They're a complete team. You know, when you see the results that, oh, Carlie Wagner scored 50, nobody else scored in double digits. If they continue now with Carlie only having to score 34 because other people are chipping in 10, 12, 15 points, it takes a little load off her, because then at the end, we saw Carlie get a steal, get a couple of layups. If she can stay fresher because she's not expected to do as much, that's going to be huge for this New Richland team down the stretch.
And remember, Wagner coming in second all-time in school history in assists and most in steals. Functions very much like Rebecca Goldman. Everyone talks about the points, but the other intangibles are just as impressive.
And you look at today, you know, the analogy is, you know, with like Michael Jordan. Yeah, he was great, but it was Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant. Today, it was Maddie Wagner and Jade Schultz that picked up that slack and chipped in 30-plus points between the two of them to help them get the victory.
Washburn with one more steal. Renikoff will fire one more three. That won't go. I thought Tyler would take his players out of there, but hey, it's a learning tool. You get 36 minutes. Use every second. Coley on the feed, off the mark. And she'll get one more. The basket will count, so she won't quite get 50, but she finishes with 49, 87 to 77. Overall, a very entertaining game. We got what the hype was all about.
Absolutely. There's no complaints here. Both teams have to be proud of their effort. Both teams have to be proud of how hard they fought, especially a Washburn team that was down at halftime to get this thing back to 10. It was down to 8 at one point. But at the end of the day, the state champions, the #1 ranked team, they absorbed the hit and they fought back and won.
So just quickly here, how does this influence Smith's basketball? Who gets the edge after this game?
I think at the end of the game, it's a draw, because yes, Coley scored more, but in the second half, when they were making their run, who got the big steal? Who got the layup? Who made that big three? Carlie Wagner.
And still a lot of season left, so we're not quite done yet. If both these schools win state, this could really be a toss-up. We'll try to get a word with some players of the game here. New Richland-H-E-G defeats Washburn 87-77. This is high school girls basketball. Mike Beaton here with a trio of players here. I know there was only one winner of this, but you all had such great games. We wanted to acknowledge all of you, and we're going to start with you, Carlie Wagner. You put in 34 points. You had a lot of foul trouble, I think sat out half of the game. How does this game define the stamina and handling adversity for the Panthers?
I think just shows that we have a deep bench and stuff, and that we can pick it up the pace, and that we have players stand up when they need to.
But you came back in the second half, and when they needed it, you came up with some big steals, big layups. Just tell me about your tenacity and your ability to handle these big situations.
Well, I guess I was just frustrated in the first half, didn't get a lot of playing time, was in foul trouble, and I just want to come out the second half and, just do what I could to get us back in it.
How big were Jade Schultz's 3 triples in a row? Because Washburn was coming, I think they were within 8, and Jade Schultz kept hitting tray after tray to keep you guys up there.
She had a big game. At the beginning of the half, she was like, I'm not shooting anymore. I'm like, you have to shoot your way out. She kept shooting and she hit him, and I was like, I'm glad you kept shooting, Jade.
The coach on the floor.
Yeah.
And just tell me, how big was this rematch? The coaches said they wanted it. I know this was a part of a thrilling 2A championship for you last year. How meaningful and how fun is it to get Washburn again?
Oh, it was just fun to play him again. Both teams, we're just such a good matchup with each other, and I think it was good for both of us going into section time to play each other again because it gets us both ready for playoff time.
All right, we're going to hand off the mic to your sister here, but don't go anywhere just yet. Maddie, you came up big, 16 points, and I'd say this was a breakout game for you. You stepped up when your big sister was on the bench, so tell me your reaction and what did you do that allowed you to get those opportunities?
I was just like, oh crap, when Carlie fell down, so I tried to stay calm and just try to lead the team.
And tell me, how has she guided you as a mentor? Because the coach talked about how you and your twin sister will sometimes go to her. What is she like away from the floor, and how does she get you two involved?
She's really good. She just tells us what to do. She doesn't ever get mad at us. Well, not really anyway. But she just tells us to keep calm and keep shooting and to stay relaxed.
Just standard sibling rivalry stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
And your thoughts on playing Washburn again?
I thought it was really fun. I wasn't that nervous about it, but I knew it was going to be a really good game and stuff. So.
And tell me, for you played 7th and 8th grade. Now you come in as freshmen. How has the poise of you and your twin sister improved over the years?
A lot stronger. We're better. We can see the court better, I think. Just stay relaxed more.
All right, let's take the mic over to Chase.
All right, thank you.
And stay here for a moment because there's one more thing we'll ask you before we leave. Chase, you came up short today, but 49 points coming in, and we were expecting Carlie Wagner to put up that number, and here you broke my score chart. That goes up to 45, so tell me about your drive today. You had 16 in the first half, and then you really exploded in the second.
Well, during the state tournament when we played them, it was kind of hard. I had mono then, and we didn't know it, so I was kind of off my game, but now coming this game, our whole team was so hyped up to play them again, and we were excited. We were nervous, but we knew we could try to stick with them this time, and we were just so excited.
I know you came up short, lost by 10, but what does this game do to help you continue that preparation, and what do you think you stated today to the fans with this game?
We definitely proved that even though we lost a lot of seniors and 2 of our senior starters, that we can still play with people, and I think we're even better than we were last year, and it just shows us where we can improve and what we need to work on, but also shows things that we are good at. I think we could see the floor pretty well, but we really need to work on our passing.
And you touch on that. What are some other things that you learned about today by playing New Richland that you might not get against another opponent? Because your dad, the head coach, has highlighted the tough games you guys have played in the last couple of years. What do you take from this game?
We have to keep working hard. They're a really competitive team, and I think this was a really good game for us because we've had a lot of wins in a row, and this is kind of like a knock in the head saying, you're not unstoppable. You got to keep working at it and stuff.
And I know you're in 3A, but how does this help you prepare for that run?
Class doesn't even matter. If you're a good team, you're a good team, and they're definitely a good team, and this really helped prepare us for our upcoming games. We play Minneapolis soon.
And how would you assess your week? Because you almost had back-to-back quintuple doubles, and today you go off for 49 points, which I believe is a career high.
Yeah, it is.
So your thoughts on this week, just how would you assess this week? What has made you so successful?
I think it's just hard work, and in practice we really push each other. I know I have my family support. A lot of my family came to the game today, and it's just so much fun playing against Carlie again.
And for, I guess, you two here, was this an early preview of what we should expect next year when you go to Minnesota, you go to Iowa? Are we going to get this kind of a matchup again?
I can't hear you.
Are we going to get this kind of a matchup again with you going to Iowa and her going to Minnesota next year?
Yeah. The Hawkeyes have come for you guys.
And just overall, how fun was it to play? How fun was this game?
Oh, it was a blast. Everybody's so competitive, and it was back and forth, and that's really exciting when you have 2 teams that just go at it and are really competitive. So I think it was a really fun game.
What about your thoughts, Maddie?
What's the question again?
Just how fun was this game?
I thought it was such a blast playing these guys again. We just had a rematch from last year since the state tournament. We just thought it'd be a really good game.
So, and Chase, I want to get your thoughts. Would you do this again if you had the chance?
Definitely. I love playing close, high competitive games. They're so much more fun than blowout games or getting blown out. But yeah, this was a really fun game, and I'm glad we did this.
All right, final question here, because I know you've got some other folks to talk to. For all 3 of you, I know you're aware of this. Who do you want to say hi to that might be watching this?
Oh, gosh. I don't even know. I guess all my family, and friends and everybody, my grandparents, my Aunt Robin who couldn't make it. But yeah, that's just a shout out to all of them.
Who do you want to say hi to, Maddie?
Probably the same because she named everybody.
And you, Chase, I know we throw this question at you a few times, but is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Well, most of my family and friends are here, but hi to my Aunt Vicky.
Well, congratulations. It's unfortunate you two can't play each other in state again because of the class separation, but I would not complain if both of you made it to the tournament. I would love to see you go at it and then have Chase with that display, and who knows, I'm sure we're going to get many more thrilling competitions next year between you two. And Maddie, I think you're going to be taking that leadership mantle next year when your big sister switches to maroon and gold. Black and gold is her colors. So.
I'll have to share that with Marnie too. She's gonna help a lot.
That's right, you two rotate. So is this going to give you the start next time?
What?
Is this going to give you a start next time?
No, it was my start next time anyway.
Well, now you have evidence.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. A thrilling game. Lived up to the hype, and this was a lot of fun. Glad we were able to take part in it.
Yep, thank you. Thank you.
All right. That was Carlie Wagner, Maddie Wagner, and Chase Coley. A thrilling game, 87-77 the final. Thank you for watching coverage of the Super 60 Metro Outstate Challenge. I'm Mike Peden, and we'll be back next game.